BYD has catapulted themselves to the forefront of this EV revolution, starting out as a battery maker before buying a failing car company. Honestly, they didn't make good cars when I arrived in China. They were famously laughed at by Elon Musk, but now nobody's laughing. This is the brand new Denza N7.
BYD's premium brand's latest crack at a premium EV.
I'm Will, sweating the life out of me here. This is China Driven. Denza isn't a new brand. It started as a 50-50 partnership with Mercedes back in 2012. And the original Denza EV was a odd-looking thing, and the subsequent Denza DX was basically a BYD Trunk, which Mercedes had done the exterior and interior design for, and whose owners insist on changing all of the badging to Mercedes ones. But to be honest, the Denza X didn't really work, so it was back to the drawing board. Mercedes pushed down to 10%, and Denza basically relaunched the brand with the D9, a PHEV, BEV, MPV. That's a lot of letters.
The Denza N7 is this brand's only model without a PHEV version.
So being a premium EV, let's talk price. The BYD main brand has cars ranging in China from as little as $10,000 for the tiny urban Seagull EV, all the way up to $48,000 for a top-spec BYD Trunk SUV. The Denza N7 costs between $42,000 to $44,500 for the rear-wheel drive models, and the all-wheel drive models cost between $45,000 and $53,000, so a fair bump over the BYD Trunk. The Denza N7 rides on a modified BYD e-Platform 3.0, which means, amongst other things, it gets a 91.3 kilowatt-hour LFP blade battery. In the rear-wheel drive model, it's said to have a range of 702 kilometers, and in the all-wheel drive model, of course it's lower, but still a respectable 630 kilometers. It also benefits from advances in battery cooling and battery management, as well as cell-to-body tech, basically a structural battery pack which you first saw in the BYD Seal, the pinnacle still in BYD driving dynamics, so be sure to check out that video after this one. I'm now at a public DC fast charge station to show you something that's kind of comical and might cause some disagreement with inside the charge station. You see, while other brands are showcasing their high peak charge times, Denza has done something a little bit different, albeit confrontational. Basically, you can hog the whole charger stall, and at a busy charging station that might incite violence, because the Denza N7 comes with dual gun charging. Plug in one gun and you can get up to 150 kilowatts, but shove in two and you're treated to up to 230 kilowatts. Denza claim with the dual gun charging you can expect up to 350 kilometers in 15 minutes or 100 kilometers in 4. Denza referred to the design language as Pi Motion Design, as in 3.1415926535.
Not that type of pi.
That's right, I learned pi to 10 digits just for this video. That's worth a like and subscribe. But back on track, Denza has thrown everything at the N7 when it comes to how it describes it. It says it combines three elements:
coupe, safari, SUV.
I don't think I really agree, but I'll give it one thing. It is a pretty low-slung SUV, so it definitely leans towards the sports rather than the utility in the looks department. And from the right angles, it looks decent. The overall body shape is appealing with creases and folds in all the right places. The side profile apes more of a portly hatchback than a traditional SUV, and the rear three-quarters, oof, not bad at all. However, many of you online have made it clear that you're not fans of the daylight running lights, and I'll admit, they are kind of tough to love, but they are distinctive in a kind of market full of slit LEDs and light bars. But tell us down in the comments below, are the DRLs a deal breaker for you, looks-wise? With the seats up, you have 480 litres. That trails competitors like the Neo ES6 by about 100 litres. Seats down, you get a reasonable 1200 litres, but still nowhere near class leading. Denza do, however, provide you with this handy extension cable which you can plug into the car for 6 kilowatts of V2L. There's also a 3-pin socket back here providing 2.2 kilowatts of output. Double handy. And unlike the frunkless Neo ES6, the Denza N7 has 73 litres of extra space up front. That is enough space to take up to 73 litres of water or any other fluid. So the interior of the Denza N7, they say that honesty is the best policy, and honestly at first glance, I didn't get it. I've driven so many Chinese EVs that I instinctively expect a minimalistic, futuristic, screen-dominated interior. It's got the screens, a huge 17.3-inch 2K touchscreen, a 10.25-inch digital instrument panel, and a complementary 10.25-inch passenger entertainment screen, as well as a huge heads-up display. But this is not the Luxo premium minimalist interiors that I've come to expect from Chinese EVs. I've been put in a box and I don't like it, and I will not stand for it. I bloody like this interior. Stitched leather all the way around, metal accenting and open pore European poplar wood. Wood, that is premium. Ask any Model 3 owner, they'll tell you they drive a premium EV, and it isn't the plastic that makes it premium. But seriously, this interior is warm and comforting. It's not sterile and cool. Sure, I wish the center console wasn't dominated by plastic, but at least it's decent plastic and it's textured. Do I like capacitive touch buttons? I don't think anybody really does, but at least these have good vibration feedback so you know you've pressed them, but you might not know what you're pressing if the sun's out. I do think this interior will resonate with an underserved demographic in the EV market. I'll not mince my words, the older generation. And as they would say, it's got all the mod cons in here. Dual 50-watt wireless chargers, 5G connection, a fragrance system, 16-speaker surround sound spatial audio system, and the 12-way adjustable seats up front with heat, ventilation, and massage that are so comfortable. I swear someone from Denza secretly measured me.
Was it Mercedes or BYD who led the interior design on this? We don't know, but
low-key, they knocked it out the park. And if you don't agree, well, you're either wrong or you're 20 years too young. In the back of the Denza N7, you're getting the same materials as the front, that kind of open pore wood and these metal speaker grills. One thing on the material side that's not so good in this car is the plastic that surrounds the switch gauge and also the window switches themselves. They don't feel very premium. Would have been nice if they were metal as well. As far as room back here, I got loads of room sat behind myself, loads of leg room, loads of foot room to get underneath the seat in front, and loads of headroom. Now, obviously, I'm not the tallest person at 1.7 meters, but it gives you some idea. There's a lot of room in here, even if you are 6 foot. Now, the rear seats in the back here have 2-stage heating, and they also have manual reclining, although it's a bit of a faff to do that manual reclining because you need to use the same kind of tab that you use to pull down the seats to do the reclining action. So there's one stage, there's another stage, and there's another stage. But as you can see, it's not the most elegant solution, but they do lean back a fair way and you can get into a comfortable position back here. Frankly, BYD's advanced ADAS has never been its strong suit, but Denza may mark a turn in the road. You see, surprisingly, or perhaps being a premium EV unsurprisingly, you'll find city and highway NOA on the options list. As standard, the Denza N7 comes with 5 cameras, 12 ultrasonic radar and 5 milliwave radar, but I suspect you'll have to opt for the optional hardware upgrade that increases that to 13 cameras and the addition of 2 Lidar units in order to access that city NOA. This pre-production Denza N7 doesn't actually have any functional ADAS systems, but do expect all the N7s to come with a level 2 ADAS system similar to BYD's D-Pilot, which is basically lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control. And also expect this Denza to spur that advanced ADAS development at BYD. So the Denza N7 comes in 2 powertrain options. The rear-wheel drive model has 230 kilowatts of power and 360 Newton meters of torque, which is good for a 0 to 100 km/h dash of 6.8 seconds. This model has the all-wheel drive powertrain, which means 390 kilowatts of power and 670 newton meters of torque, good for a sprint to 100 km/h of 3.9 seconds. Now, this is not the top model of the Denza N7, which means unfortunately I can't show you one of the modes that I would have liked to, which is a drift mode. Yes, you heard that right. Denza decided to put a drift mode in an SUV. I'm not really quite sure why, but it does look fun. In terms of the suspension in here, Denza is kind of special for BYD. It's got a double wishbone up front and 5-link in the rear. That's not important. What is important is this is the first BYD passenger vehicle product with air suspension. There is good and bad about that air suspension. The good being that over harsh, sharp bumps like small speed bumps, it really rounds off those thumps. I actually think it does a better job than my ET7. The bad is that over a seemingly smooth road, the ride is really fussy and a lot of small vibrations come through the whole car. In fact, my rear view mirror is constantly vibrating.
But some caveats: this test car is a pre-production car, so it may not be the exact final product. Also, this exact N7 was used and abused by journalists in the media track and drifting event, so it's not had the easiest beginning to life. Either way,
it's not a huge problem because it's something that can be fixed with an OTA, and with the way that it reacts over those harsh bumps, I'm sure that BYD will get it figured out quickly. Denza do say that this is sporty. It's not the word that I would use, but I would say that it can crunch miles in comfort with decent speed. I mean, I love how comfortable these seats are, I've already told you. And the other day I was driving on one of the national roads and just kind of sat back whilst I cruised along at a fair lick.
the Denza N7 does just enough to separate itself from the main BYD brand, a premium EV SUV favouring traditional premium interior styling and bizarrely a drift mode. But the $40,000 to $55,000 premium EV segment in China is a bloodbath. So, can the Denza N7 go toe-to-toe with the many heavy hitters in that segment? What do you think?
I'm Will, sweating in the sun out here, and this is China Driven.